So Simple tutorial. Good morning students, welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. My dear students, I hope your studies are going on well. Today we will start a new lesson, lesson 5, popular struggles and movements. In the first lesson, power sharing, do you remember? We had read that power is also shared by pressure groups and movements and political parties. Yes. So in today's class, we will see what are these pressure groups and movements and how do they influence the government. Let us begin with two small stories. First from Nepal and then from Bolivia. Students, I am sure that you are aware of location of Nepal. It is a country located in South Asia. It lies to the north of India, mainly in the Himalayas. Bolivia is a poor country in South America. You can see Bolivia in the screen. Prior to 1990, Nepal was a monarchy. People wanted to have democracy. They struggled for many years. The People's Movement in 1990 finally brought an end to absolute monarchy and the beginning of constitutional monarchy. It was King Birendra, then in 1990, who accepted this transition. So King Birendra remained the head of state and the real power went to the popularly elected representatives. So you can say democracy had already come in 1990 there. In June 2001, an unfortunate incident took place in Nepal. The entire royal family, including King Birendra, Queen Aishwarya and many of their closest relatives were wiped out in a mysterious massacre. With only King Birendra's brother Gyanendra and his family surviving, Gyanendra was crowned the king. King Gyanendra, the new king now, was not prepared to accept the democratic rule. He abided by the elected government for some time, but in February 2005 he dismissed the Prime Minister and dissolved the popularly elected parliament to yield absolute power. So, in April 2006, another people's movement was launched. All the major political parties in the parliament came together to form an alliance. This alliance was named SPA, Seven Party Alliance. Later on, the protest was also joined by Maoists and other organizations. Who are Maoists? Look at the glossary. Maoists. Those communists who believe in the ideology of Mao, the leader of the Chinese Revolution. Maoists seek to overthrow the government through an armed revolution so as to establish the rule of peasants and workers. Okay. This alliance, that is Seven Party Alliance, called for a 4-day strike in Kathmandu, but soon it turned into an indefinite strike. People flooded the streets every day to demand restoration of democracy. The security forces were unable to control them. You can see the crowd in the screen. The number of protesters reached between 3 to 5 lakh on 21st April. The leaders of the movement demanded for restoration of parliament, powers to an all-party government and a new constituent assembly. Initially, Gyanendra was reluctant to these demands and was making some half-hearted concessions. But on the 24th of April 2006, finally he accepted all the three demands. The SPA then chose Girija Prasad Koirala as the new Prime Minister of the interim government. The restored parliament met and passed laws that took away most of the powers of the king. The SPA and the Maoists came to an understanding about how the new Constituent Assembly was going to be elected. In 2008, the monarchy was abolished and Nepal became a federal democratic republic. In 2015, it adopted a new constitution. This was a historic achievement. The decades-long dream of Nepali people to have a constitution made through an elected representative body was realized. Nepal today has a president as head of the state and a prime minister heading the government. Let us now go to Bolivia and see what happened there. Bolivia is a poor country in South America, depending a lot on loans from the World Bank. This is the story of a city called Cochabamba. The World Bank pressurized the government to privatize its municipal water supply. So, the Bolivian government sold the rights of water supply to an MNC. The company immediately increased the price of water by 4 times. In a country where average income is about rupees 5,000 a month, many people received monthly water bill of rupees 1,000. Many poor people had the risk of losing access to water. So, this resulted in a spontaneous popular protest. How the protest unfolded? An alliance of labor, human rights and community leaders was formed in January 2000. They called for a 4-day strike in the city. You can see the demonstration in the screen. The name of the multinational company is also visible there, Aguas del Tunari. The government then agreed to talk, so the strike was called off. But there was no development, nothing happened. So another strike started in February month. The police tried to repress it brutally. Then another strike followed in April. Martial law was imposed. On 10th of April 2000, the national government agreed to the demands of the protesters. It reached an agreement with the alliance to reverse the privatization. The contract with the multinational company was cancelled. The water supply was restored to the municipality at the old rates. So again, a happy ending. This incident is known as Bolivia's water war. I hope you have understood both the stories of Nepal and Bolivia. Let us analyze. First of all, what similarities do you see in both these stories? First, both the movements involved popular struggles and mass mobilization. People took to the streets in large numbers. You already saw the pictures of protesting crowd, didn't you? Second, in both the movement, political parties and organizations played a crucial role. Okay. Now, what differences you see in both the stories? First, the struggle in Nepal was about the foundations of the country's politics, whereas in Bolivia, struggle was against one particular policy of the government. The movement in Nepal was to establish democracy, while in Bolivia it was to challenge the unjust decision of the democratic government. You must remember these points. Students, you should be able to answer these questions now. 1. What was the aim of the popular movement of April 2006? 2. What is meant by SPA? What were their demands? 3. Explain the Nepal's second movement for democracy. 4. Why did the people of Bolivia protest in the year 2000? 5. What were the similarities and differences between the movements in Nepal and Bolivia? Dear students, let me stop here now. In the meantime, you read your textbook. In the next class, we will discuss mobilizations and organizations and what conclusions we can draw from these examples of Nepal and Bolivia. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.